Hi everyone, welcome back. It's Amy. So yesterday we talked about the difference between deviant and non-deviant fantasies. We also established the fact that fantasies, healthy non-deviant fantasies, are good. And they're not always sexual. So what do you do though if the fantasies that you are having are deviant? Well, today I'm going to talk about 5 techniques to handle deviant fantasies, and I will give you examples of each. I'm also going to post an assignment today on Facebook. All right, so some of these techniques, they might sound simple, they might even sound a little silly, and at least one might sound even a little bit disgusting. But because we don't have one-size-fits-all problems, we can't have one-size-fits-all solutions, right? All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about is called thought stopping. This is very simple, and it works for a lot of people. Many of the offenders who I worked with found this method very, very helpful, especially if they used it consistently. Now, this is literally saying the word, yelling the word, stop, in your head to disrupt a deviant fantasy. And I will give you an example. You're a pedophile, you're walking down the street and you see a little girl, your eyes start to wander to her rear end, and you think about how beautiful and how little it is, and then you yell, stop, in your head. It's very simple, but it works, all right? You have to use, it's called thought stopping. And what we're going to talk about now is thought shifting, which is also a very simple technique, and it really has to be used with the thought stopping. And here's why. If you stop thinking about something deviant, all right, and something negative, you have to replace that thought with something, all right? You can't be thinking about nothing. So you have to replace the thought with something positive. That's thought shifting. So you can think about something that increases your self-esteem or some expectation of success. I'll give you an example of that. You might catch yourself thinking, wow, my new coworker is really something. I'd love to throw her down and bang her. Then you quickly tell yourself, stop, and replace that thought with something like, now why would I want to hurt her or humiliate her? I'm doing well here at work. I can do this. Now, here's another example in using thought shifting to something that's very upsetting to you, almost to punish yourself for thinking it. This image can be realistic and severe, like this. I saw a little boy, and I started to dwell on him. Immediately, I shifted my thoughts to something averse. I imagined a police officer walking up to me, tapping me on the shoulder, and yelling at me, I know what you're up to. And he knees me in the groin, and then he yells to everybody, come out and look. I caught that pervert. I know, right? Sounds severe, but by switching your thoughts to something like that, you might stop a deviant fantasy in its tracks. All right, the third one is called environmental manipulation, and it's designed to decrease your risk by just changing your situation. You can change your surroundings so that your surroundings have fewer triggers that will trigger deviant thoughts. If you're in a high-risk situation, then there is an increased chance that you'll have deviant fantasies. You have to change something about the situation so that it's no longer dangerous. Now, if this seems too difficult to change your surroundings, then you have to have an escape strategy, and we'll get to that next. One thing you can also do is anticipate. Stay away from things and people and situations and events that you know are going to trigger deviant thoughts. You are totally in charge of your situation and how you respond. There is literally no excuse. Here's an example. You're watching TV and a show comes on that has sexual content. Now you know this is a trigger. Change the channel or turn off the TV. Go read a book. It's that easy. All right, so here's the escape strategy that I talked about. If you find that you cannot change your surroundings, you have to have an escape strategy. And this is designed to get you out of a high-risk situation. All right? You never have to stay anywhere. If you get in a situation that you can't change, then get out. Yeah, just like the movie, get out. If you have feet, walk. If you have a car, drive. If you need to call Uber, call. If you need to have a friend come get you, call them, but leave. You know, these exits are sometimes socially pretty awkward, but that's too bad. You need to learn that you are in control of your life and get yourself out of high-risk situations. All right, the last method we're going to talk about to handle a deviant fantasy is called fear hierarchy. Now, this involves imagining something so disgusting when you're having a deviant fantasy. All right? These averse stimuli could be situations or events or objects that create a negative reaction within you. Now, they have to be very specific to you. All right? Only you know what is going to make you feel sick or revolted. All right? I will give you an example. You imagine yourself walking into your stepdaughter's room. She's asleep, and you pull back the covers on her bed. Now you're feeling excited and you're feeling aroused. You reach down to pull up her nightgown. You touch her, and all of a sudden your hand is covered with pus. So you take your hand and you wipe it off on your clothing. And now the pus is smeared on your clothes. And the smell is just awful. And you start to feel sick to your stomach. You feel like you're going to throw up. So you see how that works? You do that enough times, and every time you think about abusing whoever, you'll be reminded of those images and you'll stop that deviant fantasy. I know some of these seem severe, but they actually work, and they are totally worth it to stop your sexually abusive behavior. And here's the other payoff. Each time that you are able to pull yourself out of a bad situation or stop yourself from thinking about sexually deviant thoughts, you will start to feel better about yourself. And it will get easier each time. Once you start to feel better about yourself and your self-esteem increases, it is much less likely that you will have the desire to sexually abuse others, and that is what I want for you and for everybody who you come in contact with. Okay? All right, now next time we are going to start talking about feelings and how to identify them. All right? Until then, subscribe, please. Share these videos. They can help people. They can make people aware. All right? Hit me up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And until next time, be well.